Hello, this is the TK087 and I am here to show and discuss my Halo inspired motorcycle helmet. I decided to make this helmet for a few reasons. One of them being is that the current selection of helmets out there is fairly sparse. They're all generally the same shape, and if anything's unique about any of them, it's going to be the paint. However, that's not to say that that's a bad thing. They are all, achieving superb aerodynamics and function, which is very important. However, I was willing to sacrifice a little bit of that for a helmet that had a little bit more character and was unique and showed some creativity. So I decided as my template and my reference on the Halo Reach operator helmet. I thought that that looked the best, was a little bit more streamlined, and would look good on a motorcycle. So I decided on that helmet, and I had a Shoei RF 1000 or 1100, I think it's 1000. And I wanted to save the integrity of the shell. So I took a few pictures, loaded them up to my computer, and saw if I could draw out and kind of make some kind of rough sketch to see if it would actually work, that I could just build around the shell of the helmet and not drill into or have to cut into or modify the helmet shell in any way. And obviously that would make it completely unsafe. So I saw that it would work on paper. And so I decided to start out with cardboard, and so I started making all the panels, taping everything, working everything, trying to make it as scaled as possible to fit the new helmet. A problem, however, arose, and it was way too big. The scale of the helmet, of all the add-ons to the helmet, to make the scale and the shape of the original operator helmet on top of this already big shell was the problem. It made the helmet way too big. It looked like, I forgot, like the Darth Vader character from Spaceballs. It was huge. It looked kind of ridiculous. So after that, I kind of put the project down for a little while and then picked it back up. Thinking that, well, you know what, I'll just make whatever I can out of this helmet. And so I decided to basically chop off a lot of it and minimize it and just get all of the main defining features of the helmet I liked close to the helmet as possible. So all of the spacing everywhere, kind of just threw everything out and just put them as close as possible to the helmet. And it worked, actually. It started to look really good. And then I decided to, instead of going with the smooth forehead area of the helmet, to go with like a Master Chief / Air Assault, or the Mark V, I guess, whatever, Air Assault visor, or kind of a visor kind of like June as well. So I decided to make that kind of visor because without it, it was kind of hard to tell exactly what the helmet was drawing inspiration from. But I think from the visor that's famous, the Mark V or Mark VI or whatever it is that Master Chief uses, and a little bit more inspiration from June's helmet and the Air Assault, the Cat's helmet. I think the visor is a really good addition, and I'm glad I decided to do the visor. And so I decided to go with the visor, put all the panels, after all the panels got through, I then remade almost everything with styrene. Polystyrene, I think I used, like 0.25 gauge or something like that, or 0.08 gauge. I forgot exactly what I used, but I cut everything out from the styrene and then stuck it back on to the helmet. And from there, I used some of that clay hardening putty to make a channel and to add stability to all of these new parts. So a lot of these plastic just shells are refortified and supported by the clay that hardens. It's like usually used for plumbing repair or plastic repair. I didn't use that Billy Mays stuff. I used whatever that was in Home Depot or Lowe's. I think it was like JB Weld plumbing stuff. Anyway, in the visor, if you can see, I tried my best to preserve the air vents because I didn't want to close off the air vents completely. I wanted to try at least to preserve the airflow that this helmet was supposed to achieve. And so I did the same with the vents in the chin area. So I basically fortified those holes and made new channels with this clay material. And it adds a lot of weight, it does. But the overall plastic parts that I have added to the piece really feel sturdy. The helmet feels really, really good after doing that. Then, after I got the supports and all of what I felt is decently supported by the plumbing putties, I used Bondo to fill in all the gaps in the edges. That was my first time, again, using almost any of this material. The Bondo, I think I put a little bit too much hardener. So it kind of dried up on me faster. I don't know, I never used any of that before, but I got a little bit better with it at some parts. But overall, I'm happy with the way it came out, and it held, and it did a really great job. After the whole shell of the helmet was completed, I then moved on to paint. I decided to go with Colorite paint. It's an automotive paint, and I got Kawasaki colors. I got, I think, metallic Diablo black or something, and then purplish black mica or something like that. I wanted to originally have the visor black, and then the bottom part around the cheek like black as well, and then the rest was going to be this dark purplish black mica. I thought it was going to be like a dark purple. However, during the painting process, I think I colored the base coat a little too dark. So the whole helmet overall looks black generally, which is, you know, not too disappointing, and I'm fine with that too. It just would have been nice if it came out a little bit better, like a dark purple. But, you know, not gonna complain. I mean, I did spend a little bit of money on that Colorite paint, and that's a little disappointing that it came out like this. Again, you know, I'm an amateur, so you can probably see on my paint that there's a lot of dripped wet. It was too much on some parts, but I got a little bit better at it, and I think if I had to do it all over again, I think I could do a lot better job. However, I am starting to like the white that it originally was. So if I'm going to redo this again, I might go to the white. But I'm happy with the way it is now, so I'm not going to really screw with it much more. After that, you know, I put on the clear coat. Buffed, polished, and well, I didn't really buff with those, you know, grinders and stuff, because there's all these small edges all over the helmet. It's kind of hard to buff those kinds of areas without cutting too deep or hitting an edge and stuff like that, and I'm not experienced with that either at all. But then after that, I did some polishing compound and put some wax and let it